As we mentioned earlier, there are some Republicans urging President Trump to accept the results of the election. John Bolton, who of course was President Trump's former national security advisor, says it's up to all Republicans to accept the outcome. He writes in the Washington Post, quote, "The real issue is the grievous harm Trump is causing to public trust in America's constitutional system. Trump's time is running out, even as his rhetoric continues escalating. And time is running out for Republicans who hope to maintain the party's credibility." Well, Ambassador John Bolton joins me now. And Ambassador Bolton, you've heard the arguments that are probably have been made to you quietly, which says, and John Thune sort of said it publicly, that the rationale for sort of enabling this whatever it is the president's trying to do right now, that they need him and his supporters engaged for those Georgia runoffs. It sounds like you think if you're doing it for that reason, the long-term damage is going to be a lot greater than any short-term gain.
Yeah, let me be clear. I think winning those 2 Georgia Senate seats is absolutely critical. And I really wrote this op-ed as a message to other Republicans. Clearly, the national interest is the supreme concern we have here. But for the Republican Party, the idea that if we just kind of allow Trump to work his way through the 7 stages of grief and finally decide to allow himself to be wheeled out of the White House, that will be okay, I think is false. I think the Democrats, and with all due respect, many people in the media will try and lump Trump forever together with Republicans. I think he will be the Hooverville of the rest of this century if we're not careful. I think we have to look to what the interests of the country and the party are, as opposed to Donald Trump. Donald Trump is pursuing his highest interest, which is Donald Trump. I think Republican leaders need to think of our bigger interest, which is the country and then the party.
Ambassador Bolton, this seems plainly obvious to me what you're articulating. And yet, and in fact, if you have, and I'm sure you've had these, if you have individual conversations with certain Republican senators, they don't disagree with any of the way you just laid this out. But collectively, they're not acting that way. And it seems as if they fear the president more than clearly you do.
Well, what's the president going to do to me? Sue me? A lot of Republicans on the Hill.
I think he's trying that, isn't he? Yeah.
Sure. Come at me again. I'm ready. A lot of Republicans on the Hill are fearful of his Twitter rants. There's no doubt about it. But I'm not asking everybody to climb Mount Suribachi and plant the flag. I think you can do this in small steps, too. I'd have to say Senator James Lankford, Senator Charles Grassley are doing exactly the right thing in saying, look, we don't know exactly how this is going to come out, but against the contingency that maybe Joe Biden actually won, we owe him the obligation, and we owe the country the obligation that he be fully prepared. Let's let the transition begin. Let's not make the mistake of 2000, where George W. Bush was denied access and lost 37 days during the recount. Let's do this responsibly. I think those steps that separate key party leaders and the party from Trump are valuable for the country and for the party, and they shouldn't care what Donald Trump thinks.
In fact, you brought up 2000. In fact, here's the 9/11 Commission said the transition was an issue in preparation for 9/11. This is page 198. The dispute over the election and the 36-day delay cut in half the normal transition period, given that a presidential election in the United States brings wholesale change in personnel. This loss of time hampered the new administration in identifying, recruiting, clearing, and obtaining Senate confirmation of key appointees. I mean, it's just reinforcing what you just said. The national security implications of delaying this transition. We don't know what we don't know right now, and that's scary.
Yeah. I think the 9/11 Commission had a good point. It's very hard to prove there was a causal connection, but I guess I'd put it this way. Who wants to take the chance? What is the responsible thing to do here? And it's not to pretend like the process that the president's going through now is going to produce a change in the election results. But when you say, well, the president has a right to do this, that's fine. But at some point, he has to produce compelling legal arguments and evidence. And he has not produced either one so far. And in the cases I've seen, on file. I don't see it's going to happen in any of them. So if he won't do it, the rest of the party needs to.
Why are you so confident he's going to end up sort of becoming the mayor of Hooverville? I don't know if I quoted you exactly, but I get what you're trying to say, that he's going to be a relic of history, that you assume over time he's less and less influential. He looks more influential today on the Republican Party than he did at times during his presidency, given the surprising performance of Republicans down the ballot.
Now, the Hooverville metaphor is every Republican after Herbert Hoover was said to be bringing a new generation of Hoovervilles. In other words, we're going to be told we're all a bunch of Trumps from now on. I don't think Trump is a Republican. I don't think Trump is a conservative. And I think when he walks out the door of the Oval Office, his influence will diminish considerably. He's just not going to be as interesting anymore. He may fight to remain a force within the party, but that's what political leaders who oppose his approach and his lack of competence need to make clear to the party base and others we can attract back. You don't have to take the state of play today as a given, as something that can never be changed. Quite the contrary. I think to go forward from here and put Trump aside, it's going to require people to explain what he did wrong. I think that helps us justify to the American people how to take control of the House and increase possibly in the Senate in 2022 and win the White House back for a Reaganite Republican in 2024.
Ambassador John Bolton, the former national security advisor at one time to President Trump, I appreciate you coming on and sharing your perspective with us. Always a pleasure, sir. Thank you.
For having me.
Hello, YouTubers. If you're watching this, it means you've checked out our channel, so thank you. Now do me a favor, subscribe by clicking on that button down there. Click on any of the videos to watch the latest interviews and highlights from MTP Daily and MSNBC. You can get more Meet the Press content every morning in the First Read newsletter. If you're tired of content that you don't know anything about where it came from, you don't have to have that problem with us. NBC News, MSNBC, MTP, and the Meet the Press mindset right here for you on YouTube. Subscribe now.